Previously on our series, things took a shocking turn. Bayern's game skyrocketed in downloads, reviews poured in with nothing but 5 stars, and profits hit hundreds of thousands in just 1 week. But instead of celebrating, Bayern was drowning in doubt. Was this really success, or the beginning of something darker? We saw him hire a glamorous assistant, rent out an entire luxury office floor, and spend millions outfitting his company like a palace. And just when it looked like he was building an empire, he made a bold, almost reckless move, deciding to develop a full-scale PC shooter to dominate the gaming world. Now the big question is, can Bayern's risky choices hold up, or is he steering his company straight into disaster? If you missed the earlier episodes, don't worry, the full videos of recent parts are linked down below in the description. Don't skip them, because what's coming next might just change everything. Transitioning to the company's office, the employees were fully absorbed in various games, their voices filled with curses and arguments. Why are you all playing so poorly? How am I supposed to carry this team? You're definitely the dumbest one here, one shouted in frustration. Meanwhile, Bisu was also focused on his game when a sudden idea struck him. He immediately sent a message to Huang Zi, the golden-haired developer. This storyline seems pretty solid. Record your screen and send it over, let's see if it's usable. Huang Zhang quickly replied, "Understood, Mr. Ba, I'll take care of it." Putting on his headphones, Huang Zhang began recording as instructed. On the other side, the ever-casual Meng muttered to himself, "So, Huang Zhang is gaming again." By the evening of November 18th, Arbon sat before the system board, gazing at it with melancholy. He had a total of $971,000, with profits amounting to $471,500. How has it suddenly become so difficult to lose money? He muttered, frustrated. Just then, a loud knock came at the door. Meng burst in, his voice urgent. "Mr. Baikan, I've discovered something. Huang Zhang's group has been secretly working overtime every day using the company's computers." Baikan's face turned pale in shock. "What did you just say? Secretly working overtime? Quickly, tell them to stop immediately. How dare they go against my instructions? Who authorized this overtime? Are they writing descriptions? Designing assets?" Meng quickly clarified, "Oh no, sir, it seems like they're just playing games." Baikan sighed with relief, approaching Meng. "You must be mistaken. Huang Zhang wouldn't work overtime for that. If they're gaming, that's fine." Meng blinked in surprise. "So, you don't mind them wasting company resources? Shouldn't we remind them at least?" Baikan raised his hand, cutting him off. "No need, Meng. We're a gaming company. Playing games helps our employees learn, gain insights, and draw inspiration from outstanding foreign titles." But in truth, Baikan secretly thought, as long as they're not actually working, it's perfect. The more snacks they eat, the more water and electricity they waste, the faster the system funds will drain. Excellent, excellent. Meng hesitated, then asked, "So, your point is to overlook this entirely?" Suddenly, Baikan's expression turned cold. He walked over to the director's desk, slammed his palm on it, and declared, "Overlook it? Absolutely not. DD is a company that values its employees. According to state regulations, overtime work must be paid. On weekdays, the rate is 1.5 times the base salary, and on weekends, it's double. Not a single dollar less." As he spoke, he swiftly typed and printed a document, handing it to Meng. "Here, this is your task track every hour of overtime. When the time comes, calculate their wages to the last cent." Meng walked out bewildered, list in hand. Baikan leaned back in his chair, his face glowing with satisfaction. "Genius. I truly am a genius for coming up with this," he thought smugly. The next day, during lunch at the office, all employees were deeply immersed in their games. To Baikan's surprise, Huang Zi knocked on his office door. "Excuse me, CEO Bai, it's me, Huang Zhang." "Come in," Tycoon said. The blonde-haired developer entered, handing him a report. "CEO Bai, this is the invoice for the resources we need to purchase online. Please review it." "Very well. Have a seat," Tycoon replied. "I've worked hard to control the budget and found quality resources at reasonable prices. There shouldn't be any issues," Huang Zi explained. But upon reviewing the report, Baikin's face darkened with fury. "What is this? Only $670,000? That's far too little. This is a high-end PC game. Just the resources alone should cost at least $700,000 to $800,000. Revise the budget and double it immediately." Inside, Tycoon seethed. "No, this won't do. Spending so little won't deplete the system funds fast enough. Absolutely unacceptable." Panic spread across Huang Zhang's face. "Yes, CEO Bai, I'll revise it right away. Oh, and there's another matter, the game's name. Box Show suggested calling it War of the Sea. I find it a bit odd, but perhaps you should decide." Tycoon tapped his chin thoughtfully. "War of the Sea, why does that sound so familiar?" "Ah, yes, it's almost identical to the title of a street film I watched before I transmigrated." Suddenly, he slammed his hand on the table with a loud thud. "War of the Sea, that's a catchy name. Let's go with that." Hangzhou, on the other side, blinked in disbelief. Is this guy just randomly hitting rocks or what? Crazy. Yes, of course. I'll immediately revise the budget," he replied. Following this, Bayan leaned back in his chair, hands resting behind his head and legs crossed. His thoughts sharpened with a hint of lethality. Perhaps some people don't understand what it means to invest 300 million into securing a clean box office within a single month. We usually call it the ultimate VIP perfect collapse. If a film with that much investment could fail so miserably, then even this name alone is enough to destroy our gaming company. Ha! Friday, November 29th. Just another day at the office. Employees sat at their desks, each immersed in their computers, indulging in games. Suddenly, someone approached, placing a stack of documents in front of a man in a white coat. "Hey, Lu, there are some issues with this function. Could you fix it?" The young man picked it up and nodded. "All right, Wang ZBA. I'll fix it right away." Hang Zi patted his shoulder in approval. "Good work. Keep learning from Mr. Ba. He's the top challenger." Wang ZBA then glanced at the report and muttered under his breath. The budget for resources went from $700,000 to $1,200,000, and now it's jumped to $1,500,000. It just keeps increasing. He sighed, staring at his computer with determination. CEOB has never blamed me before. If I don't make this game successful, I won't be worthy of his investment in my training. Just then, his phone buzzed with a notification. He checked it and froze. Huh? Payday already? But today isn't even the 29th, is it? Don't companies usually pay salaries at the end of the month or the start of the next? Could this be a mistake? I only started working on the 5th. It hasn't even been a full month yet. Confused, Wang ZBA quickly called the director's secretary. Hey, Tan, sorry to bother you, but it looks like my salary was calculated incorrectly. My base pay should only be $44,000 after insurance. Why is it showing more than $5,000? The secretary smiled warmly. No mistake. That's correct. The extra amount is your overtime pay. Wang ZBA was dumbfounded, frozen in place. Holy cow, there's overtime pay too. Secretary Tan chuckled softly. Exactly. Not just you, everyone who worked overtime gets additional pay. You must have logged about 50 hours, right? Overtime is paid at 1.5 times your base salary. After insurance and taxes, this is the correct amount. For a moment, Wang ZBA stood like a wooden pole, utterly stunned. All around the office, gamers glued to their screens were equally astonished. Oh my goodness, it's true. I also received overtime pay." The young man in white felt deeply moved, never expecting CEO Bai to care for them so much. Meanwhile, Balu burst into tears, crying, "So CEO B really knows everything." Moved to the point of sobbing like rain, Wang Zba exclaimed, "CEO B not only refrained from scolding us for working overtime against his orders, but even quietly transferred the pay into our accounts. Let's give it our all for CEO Bai. We must make this game a success." The entire office erupted in cheers. "Fighting! Fighting! We can do it!" Inside the director's office, Buran sat in a somber mood, his thoughts drifting to his grandfather. How is it we still haven't spent all the system funds? Determined, he immediately called for an emergency round-table meeting. The 5 familiar members gathered, and the end-spending meeting officially began. This time, Baiken raised his hand with determination. "I'll go first." Holding the floor, he reported, "Last week, we allocated part of the budget for purchasing art resources. This week, we've covered office rent, employee salaries, and miscellaneous expenses. It was a challenge, but we nearly exhausted the system funds. However, with 2 months still remaining until the next financial close, Luang continues to generate substantial profits." The group slumped against the table, helpless. Urgent spending is truly a tough nut to crack. Is there any faster way? Unexpectedly, another Baiken suggested, "What about organizing a team-building event?" The group perked up in surprise. Team building? Excited discussion followed. If around 30 people go out for a meal, and each spends between $100 and $200, that would add up to several thousand. Perfect team building it is. Let's assign Assistant Tan to handle it. And so, keeping his word, Bayan summoned his assistant. By the end of this month, arrange a team-building event. You'll be in charge of planning the itinerary." She quickly replied, "Yes, CEO Bai." With his chin resting on his hand, Baikam remarked, "I'm planning to take the company employees to Yongchang for a study tour and exchange. The trip doesn't need to be too long, about 5 days should be enough. During these 5 days, we'll visit a different company each day for learning and networking. It's best if we focus on large-scale game companies, preferably ones that specialize in FPS titles. The company would cover all expenses, including airfare and accommodation." Secretary Tan simultaneously began estimating the total cost. Baran, however, was already calculating inwardly. This time it could cost up to 10 times 200,000. Still, even if it's a small expense, if this team-building event ends up costing that much, it should be fine.
Secretary Tan smiled and replied,
"All right, CEO Bai. I'll arrange everything smoothly." Transitioning to Dangdu Company's recreation area, the employees were fully immersed in gaming. Suddenly, someone spoke up. "Are we really going to Yongchang for learning purposes?" A person dressed in green responded, "It must be true. I heard Assistant Tan already arranged the tickets. Honestly, I've never seen a company take its employees to visit other companies for learning exchanges before." On the other side, another group chimed in. "A trip like this is definitely going to cost a lot. If I had to pay for it myself, I'd surely regret the expense. Our company benefits are truly exceptional. I wonder which companies we'll be visiting this time." "There's bound to be Tanhu, right?" one of them asked. The guy in white nodded. "For sure. Tanhu is so well known, and they specialize in FPS games. We can learn a lot from them." Hang Zi interjected firmly, "Everyone, we still need to focus on our work. Don't put all your thoughts into Yongchang." The man in white chuckled awkwardly and replied, "Well, we've never been to Yongchang before. Visiting a famous company like Tanhu does make us a little excited. But don't worry, Wang Zimba will ensure our work is completed with absolute perfection both in efficiency and quality." Moments later, in Baikam's office, he stared at the report in shock. Less than $150,000? Secretary Tan promptly replied, It's all calculated based on business standards. The time frame you requested is by the end of December. Considering that some people may refuse to go, I scheduled for 30 participants. Accommodation is priced at $300 per person, $600 for a double room per night plus meals, transportation, and a budget for some additional staff. All of it falls within that price range. After a brief pause, Cam spoke. Perhaps we can upgrade the flight tickets to first class. He had barely finished when the system issued an immediate warning. The system is already issuing warnings. Handing the report back to Secretary Tan, he said, "All right, proceed with this budget." Meanwhile, the disheartened young man thought to himself, life feels so dull. Only $150,000, and we're supposed to take 30 people to Yongchang. That's too cheap. At this point, Secretary Tan smiled gracefully and replied, "Understood, CEO. Bye. I'll get in touch with the companies over there." A short while later, in Yongchang at Tianhu Company, the seemingly casual man was none other than Jay Mogan, CEO of Tianhu. He looked up in surprise. "Whoa, Danga Network Technology Limited Liability Company came to Yongchang to visit us for an exchange." A female employee confirmed, "Yes, that's correct, CEO Zhu." Startled, Yon thought to himself, "For real? A game company organizing a visit for its employees to another company." The employee added, "Yes, CEO. Zhu Rujiang is the product of this company." His surprise deepened. "D is their creation?" "All right," he said at last. "If the boss is unavailable, Xing Yun can handle it. Even if they visit the company, it won't take too much time." At that moment, Mogan pondered. Lai has been a very popular mobile game recently, and the person who created it must be quite remarkable. Meeting and getting acquainted doesn't sound like a bad idea. He then spoke aloud. "Fine. Arrange the schedule in advance, and I'll personally receive them." Handing him a document, the employee said, "Yes, CEO Zhu. There's one more matter. The list of underperforming employees has been compiled. Please take a look." After reviewing it briefly, he handed it back. "Apart from Linwen, everyone else is on leave. Follow the procedure." The employee widened her eyes in surprise. Why keep Linwen? Moments later, Zhu Mogan slumped back in his chair, thinking the same. Why keep Linwen, indeed? His mind drifted back to a previous phone call. "Zan Lin from Shen Hull Corporation, correct? A pleasure to speak with you. I've heard of you for quite some time. Please, go ahead whatever the difficulty. I can handle it all." Linwen is your niece, isn't she? Very well. Rest assured we will take good care of her. Think of a way for her to resign voluntarily. All right? I understand. After that, he fell into contemplation. Shenhua Corporation is the leading company domestically. If we can establish a connection with them, it will be extremely beneficial for the company. Forcing Linhua to resign voluntarily isn't difficult. But in his words, there's another implication. He's suggesting that I should figure out how to destroy her passion for the gaming industry so she'll abandon it entirely. That's not too hard either. The best approach is to make Linhua witness the harsh realities of the gaming industry. The domestic gaming scene is already draining, firing employees for poor performance, sacrificing dreams in exchange for profit, turning art into nothing more than a money-making tool. If she sees this side of it, she'll be disheartened and give up. This is as easy as pie. Switching scenes to Friday, December 27th, at a luxury hotel in Yongchang. In a room, Mayang and Bayan were chatting. Mayang sighed. "Hey, Bayan, I'm already exhausted from pretending in front of everyone at the company. I even have to act like I don't know you and call you CEO. Because of work, our distance just keeps growing." Bayan patted him on the back and replied, "It's a small sacrifice for the company. You're my most important eyes and ears inside. Report any situation to me immediately." Kid, sitting nearby, remained clueless as always. At the same time, Bayan thought to himself, If everyone knew about my relationship with Mayang, it could cause serious trouble. Mayang leaned back, holding his head. It feels like I'm an undercover spy, doesn't it, Bayan? Everyone seems very interested in Tianhuo Company. They're really formidable, aren't they? Bayan replied calmly, I have no idea. Tomorrow will be our first official visit to Tianhuo Company. When we get there, make sure to ask plenty of questions. Don't let it be dull. Mayang chuckled lightly. Got it. After all, you're the boss. If you start asking random questions, it might make us look bad. I'll handle it. The next morning, on the way to Tianhuo Company, the entire Dingda team was astonished as soon as they arrived. Mount's jaw dropped. What is this place? The company must be filthy rich to build such offices. I heard they once gave out a year's salary as a bonus. The highest year-end reward was even a sports car. At the front desk, two round-faced receptionists were busy snapping selfies before returning to their work. Bayan, however, remained deep in thought. Constructing a place this massive must have cost a fortune. Just then, Secretary Tan appeared with a man in a white coat. Hello, CEO Bai, she greeted. Finding it odd, Bayan asked. Secretary Tan, who's the person behind you? The man in the white coat stepped forward with a bright smile, extending his hand. Is this CEO Bai? Hello, I'm Zun Hu, the receptionist of Tianhuo Company. I'll be guiding everyone on today's tour. If anything falls short, I hope you'll overlook it. Bayan promptly shook his hand and replied, Hello. Thank you for leading us today. Please, follow me, Zun Hu said warmly. Inside Tianhuo Company, CEO Zhu Moyan stood prepared, his hair meticulously styled. It should be almost time. Hopefully, my hairstyle is still holding up. As the group entered, Zun Hu announced, CEO Zhu, this is CEO Bai from Dingda Company. The two CEOs shook hands firmly. We've heard about you for a long time, Zhu said with a polite smile. Bayan's gaze flickered briefly. That suit must have cost at least 5 digits. Someone that young has to come from a wealthy family. With a friendly tone, Zhu continued, Please follow me. I'll take you around. This is our recording area. Ahead is the music recording studio where all our sound effects are produced. Over here is the training room, where interns regularly undergo game design training. He gestured further down the hall. These are some of our company's products. For example, this set of clothing was worn by a celebrity while representing one of our games. This area is our leisure and entertainment zone. The snacks over there are free to enjoy. Coin Eyebag glanced at the setup and muttered inwardly, Seriously? 1 TV, 1 PC, and you call this an entertainment area? That tiny sofa set is supposed to be a rest zone? And just a few bags of cookies and chips with a modest little sign, you call that a food area? This is way too stingy. Our company is miles ahead of this. Meanwhile, CEO Zhu Moyan, overhearing those thoughts, froze in place, his expression stiff and unreadable. Not understanding what was happening at all, he thought to himself, what on earth is going on with the people from DDA? Why is there no reaction at all? Our company clearly has the most luxurious VIP facilities in Yangcheng. We have an entertainment room, a relaxation area, a large TV, plush sofas, and complimentary snacks and drinks. I still remember the atmosphere at our company. Everyone dreams of working there. In the unusual silence, Meng suddenly spoke up. Everyone, take a good look. This is the entertainment area, and over there is the resting zone. That super large TV, we have at least 3 or 4 of them in our office. As for this sofa, it may be a little firm, but it's still decent. Zumon and Zanui broke into a cold sweat after hearing this, silently thinking, You've got to be kidding me. What is he even talking about? Are all domestic game companies following the same policy? Is this some kind of joke? Hang Zenat forced a dry chuckle. Well, it seems all right on this side. Mang added, Considering domestic standards, this workplace environment is actually quite generous. Besides, with so many people working overtime, the company must spend a considerable amount on overtime pay each month. At that, young director Zumon's face froze like a statue. He was utterly perplexed. Are they joking? The gaming industry even has overtime pay. Isn't it supposed to be the same policy for everyone? Our Baiken quickly grabbed Knave Mang's hand and whispered angrily, "Stop asking. Just let it be. Why do you always have to ruin the atmosphere? I came all the way here to smooth things over, not stir up trouble." Hang Zibi scratched his head and explained, "He's new to the industry. Please don't laugh at him." Zan Hub smiled faintly. "Well then, let's continue. We've arranged a sharing session, so please follow me." A while later, Zan Hui led the group through the workplace. The path was only about 3 tiles wide, surprising everyone greatly. A young man without glasses leaned toward the blonde-haired Hang Zba and whispered, "This workplace is really cramped." Hang Zba replied calmly, "Ah, it's all right." But in his mind, he thought, it's not that Tianhu is cramped, it's that DDA is too spacious. Zumon overheard this and was shocked. Is he serious? Is it really considered cramped here? Are most companies like this? He must be joking. Eventually, the group arrived at a rather large auditorium. Zan Hui announced, "Next, please welcome Huang Zba, head of the Network Technical Planning Team at Dangdal Limited, to share the successful experience of Gujang with us. Let's give him a warm welcome." The audience erupted in thunderous applause. Up on stage, Huang Zba hesitated before speaking. "Firstly, let me clarify that I was not directly involved in creating Gujang. However, during my time at DDA Company, I devoted myself to studying the game. I believe I've gained some insights into its artistic design from CEO Bai. In my opinion, the success of Gujang can be attributed to 3 main factors. First, the pursuit of high-quality gameplay and the courage to venture into new artistic styles. CEO Bai allocated nearly half of the company's capital to artistic resources and boldly invited new artists to create a fresh visual style, which was warmly received by players. All of this is thanks to CEO Bai's visionary and highly refined aesthetic sense. Second, the game's fair payment system. Huying costs only $40, unlike most other card games. This low-cost, player-friendly model earned love and respect while increasing sales through a low-profit, high-volume strategy. Third, the full investment of capital into game development. With only simple advertising, CEO Bai cleverly expanded Gujang from an artistic success to a full-fledged community phenomenon. Suddenly, Huang Zba slammed his hand on the table and declared, "This could be considered a classic case of meticulously studied consumer advertising." Hearing this, our Bayan smiled faintly and thought, "Holy, why does that sound so convincing? How come I didn't think of it that way at the time?" Huang Zi observed this with interest, thinking, CEO Bai is nodding and smiling quietly. My speculation about his original design intentions must have been correct. It seems I am gradually keeping up with his pace. Next, Zanui stepped forward. "Thank you, Huang Zba, for sharing. Now, we invite CEO Zuo from Tianhu Company to speak." At that moment, Director Zumon glanced at our Baiken, reflecting slyly, pouring all capital into game development without leaving a penny for promotion, daring to hire new artists, creating a completely new style, and even changing the profit model of traditional card games. Truly, youth is a bold and talented age. This CEO Bai, though still young, is remarkably daring. Zumo Yan then confidently stepped onto the podium. "We are currently developing an FPS game titled Dantu. Our goal is to surpass the success of Fankong Jinha. The most crucial aspect of any FPS game lies in the sensation it delivers. FPS players are highly discerning, which is why Dan2 strives to replicate the tactile experience based on the original work of Fan Kong Jinghua. We ensure that this feeling can be recreated with up to 90% accuracy." At the same time, we continue to innovate artistically, even consulting military experts to verify the authenticity of our weapons and attire. Finally, the plan is to release the game for free, supported by optional microtransactions, seizing the chance to achieve remarkable revenue within the FPS genre. Upon hearing this, Wanzel was taken aback, thinking to himself, why does Dan 2's approach feel so similar to War of the Sea? If it truly is Fan Kong Jiho's former rival, does he still have the upper hand? What if these two games end up in direct competition? At that moment, he noticed CEO Bai Ken smiling calmly, as though nothing troubled him. Why is he still smiling? Wan wondered. Could it be that CEO Bai came to Tianhu Company on purpose, simply to evaluate their approach? If that's the case, then he's certain Dan 2 will fail. That explains his calm and confident smile. Heroes are truly formidable in reality. In truth, Bai Kan was quietly reflecting. As I predicted, if Zhu Moyan follows this path, then in any direct confrontation with War of the Sea, Dan 2 will face a crushing defeat. The two CEOs then shook hands. Bai Ken spoke first, truly magnificent, expanding horizons. Judd Moan respectfully replied, I wouldn't dare compare. CEO Bai is naturally gifted and exceptionally talented. I admire you deeply. I must excuse myself now, as I have other matters to attend to. Bai Ken responded warmly, CEO Zuo, please continue with your work. Thank you. Just as Beacon was about to leave, a clear voice rang out. Excuse me, CEO Bai, could you please wait? He turned and saw a charming young woman with bright, sparkling eyes. She introduced herself politely. Hello, CEO Bai. I'm Lin Wen. May I take a few minutes of your time to ask some questions? Seeing her beauty and sincerity, he agreed without hesitation. Her first question was straightforward. Isn't the primary purpose of a game to make money? Bai Ken answered calmly, I believe the primary purpose of a game is to bring joy to the players. Deep down, however, he thought to himself, for me, the real purpose is simply to incur losses. Still smiling, Lin Wen pressed further. So, does your company have a screening policy for employees? He shook his head. No, we don't. Every employee is like family to me. We grow and progress together. Why would I casually discard anyone? Internally, though, he mused. If I were to let anyone go, it would only be the diligent ones. How could I possibly dismiss the lazy ones? Encouraged, she asked again. Then do employees at your company work overtime? He blushed slightly before answering. I try my best to send everyone home on time, but some insist on staying, so of course, I have to pay them overtime. Intrigued, Lin Wen tilted her head. So, does CEO Bai create games purely to fulfill his dream of gaming? Bai Ken chuckled lightly. No, mostly it's for the money. Amused by his humor, she giggled. You're quite playful. But if it were really about money, you could simply increase the fees for Bujang tenfold. I know you're an idealist. Thank you for answering my questions. With that, she smiled, bowed politely, and walked away. Bai Kan stood still, puzzled. Strange, who exactly is this girl? The following morning at Tianhu Company, Lin Wen approached CEO Zhu Moyan with a folder of documents. What's this? He asked. She looked him in the eye and replied, CEO Zhu, I have made up my mind. I want to resign. Hearing this, Zhu Moyan felt secretly relieved. At last, she has realized the harsh reality of the gaming industry. She'll probably return to inheriting her family's billions. Outwardly, however, he remained composed and asked, So, you want to leave the gaming industry? Lin Wen quickly shook her head. No, not at all. Zhu Moyan's eyes widened in surprise. She doesn't want to leave the industry, yet she still wants to resign. What's going on? Does she simply dislike my company? Confused, he pressed further. Why? Is there something here that doesn't suit you? She smiled faintly and gazed out the window. Thank you, CEO Zhu. for always supporting me, but I feel I can't pursue my dream of making games here. I plan to find another place. Meanwhile, on Thursday, January 7th, 2010, at Arb Dangda Company, Wang Dabe with his blonde hair flowing approached Baikan. How's the progress of War of the Sea? Do we need to extend it for another week? Hangai responded confidently, no need, CEO Bai. We've tested it multiple times and fixed every glitch we found. The game is ready for release at any time. Though Baikan outwardly smiled, inside he worried. For real? So confident? Is the game truly complete and polished enough? Maintaining his calm facade, he said, well, that's good. Show me the storyline and legendary weapons. Kwang Xena quickly agreed. Yes, CEO Bai, I'll show you immediately. Our storyline takes players from the bottom all the way to the top. The campaign is about 6 hours long, involving battles against zombies and mercenaries, along with a few puzzle-solving elements. Here are the majestic legendary weapons we're planning to launch this month, as per your request. The permanent purchase price is set at $888. Upon seeing it, Baikan's eyes widened in shock. Would you look at that? The setting of this game, it's nothing like what I imagined. Why does it look so high-end? Are they serious? Who said it would turn out this beautiful? He paused, then remembered. Ah, right. It's because I told them to purchase premium game resources. Well, that's good. At least all that effort and money have paid off. And now, the $888 legendary unicorn has officially made its debut. Surprisingly, Hang Zi spoke up. Yes, CEO Bai, but the game still lacks some other features. Should I present them to you now? Baikan quickly raised his hand to stop him, smiling faintly. No need. Just prepare them and submit directly to the accounting department for approval. As he stepped out, Baikan chuckled mischievously to himself. If only Dan 2 had launched by now, my game would surely be crushed, with no chance to rise. Later, inside the CEO's office, Baikan opened the system board to check the current capital. It displayed $138,700, a decrease of $360,500. The drop was significant. He frowned. I didn't expect spending to be this difficult. It's frustrating, but if I'm going to be cautious, I might as well spend it all. The less left, the better. Putting thought into action, he immediately called for his secretary, Tan. As she entered, he spoke sternly. Arrange everything for tomorrow afternoon. We're celebrating the completion of War of the Sea with a team building session. We'll watch a movie, have dinner, and enjoy karaoke if possible. Spare no expense. Perplexed, she asked, Tomorrow afternoon, but isn't tomorrow Friday? Baikan replied calmly, if we use employees' leisure time for team building and entertainment, they won't blame me, will they? Secretary Tan nodded. Yes, CEO Bai. But there's one more thing. Do you remember when we visited T&H Company? A girl named Lin when asked you a question. She's now in Jingo and wants to work for our company. She's very determined and even said she doesn't need a salary. She's waiting in the small meeting room, and I've just welcomed her. Baikan raised an eyebrow. She doesn't need a salary. That's impossible. I never want that kind of arrangement. He then asked, what's your impression of her? Tan replied, well, CEO Bai, she seems to come from a privileged background, likely a wealthy young lady. Personality-wise, there's no issue, but I'm a bit worried she might be too naive. Hearing this, Baikan felt a wave of delight. A wealthy and naive young lady, even if her work capability isn't impressive, she's a perfect match for my hiring criteria. Excellent. He raised his hand. In that case, go ahead and hire her. The starting salary will be $44,000 a month, as agreed before. Please arrange her tasks accordingly and let her do whatever she likes. Outside, Lin Wen anxiously waited, wondering if Baikan had accepted her. Moments later, Secretary Tan stepped out with a notice board. Congratulations, CEO Bai has agreed. Once you sign this contract, you'll officially become an employee of Danga with a monthly salary of $4,000. Lin Wen's eyes sparkled with joy. Great, wonderful, everything's great, but may I ask what my job will be? Tan hesitated before answering. Your job? Well, tomorrow at 2 p.m., you'll join the team building activities, watch a movie, have dinner, and sing karaoke with everyone. Lin Wen froze, bewildered. What? That's really my job? This sounds so strange. On Monday morning, January 11th, Hang Ziba, with his blonde hair, approached B. Hey, Mr. Ba, have you seen the statistics for War of the Sea? B, looking deeply disappointed, replied, Yes, it's quite disheartening. We released it on Friday, it went through Saturday, and now it's Monday, yet we've had only a few hundred downloads. Perplexed, Hang Ziba asked, Mr. Ba, do you think CEO Bai is really determined not to do any marketing? I searched the web and found no advertisements. Baku responded, I believe we should trust CEO Bai completely. If he hasn't instructed us to focus on advertising, then there's no need to worry. WI pulled up a chair and added, That makes sense, doesn't it? A genius like CEO Bai wouldn't burden us with such concerns, right? Of course, Mr. Ba replied. We should start planning development for the next version. What features do you think we should include? Balu sighed. Planning for the next version's development, huh? If we don't properly organize the tasks, there won't be much left to do. It's definitely something we should prepare for, but I'm not sure what specific issues need to be addressed. Hanza, his blonde hair catching the light, responded thoughtfully. Honestly, I can't decide whether we should focus on fixing bugs in the game or adding new content. Even new players haven't reported any major problems so far. As for new content, he continued, we already have plenty. There's no need to introduce fresh gameplay mechanics or additional maps right now. Instead, I suggest we invite a group of experienced, hardcore players to test the game. We'll gather feedback from around 10 of them and continue optimizing. Bagu raised a concern. But where are we going to find these players? And won't it cost money to have them test the game? Hang Zbe scratched his head, puzzled. That's a problem I'll need to think about. As he pondered, a young man wearing glasses suddenly spoke up. Hey Wang Zeba, what if I reach out to some gaming groups in Fan Kongjoa and chat with the admins there? Hang Zimba let out a faint chuckle. Come on, advertising in someone else's group? We'd probably get kicked out immediately. The young man scratched his head in embarrassment. Yeah, you're right. Just as they began feeling discouraged, Linwen appeared with her usual mischievous grin. I know a way to contact a few admins from FPS gaming groups. Some of them have over 1,000 members each. Hanan Ziba's eyes widened. Really? You think they'd help us? Linwen's eyes sparkled. Of course, I'm on good terms with them. Huang Zbe, clearly perplexed, asked, But how do you know so many FPS group admins? You don't exactly seem like the type who plays shooters. With a charming smile, Linwen replied, That's because during my internship at T&H Company, the Dan 2 project recruited a group of FPS players for testing. I was responsible for communicating and coordinating with them. Fast forward to a short while later in an apartment building. A young man in a black shirt with golden hair sat deeply absorbed in a match of CSGO. His name was Chen Wu. Suddenly, a message popped up from Linwen. Chen Wu, something important has come up. Can you help me test a game? Chen Wu frowned and typed back. Didn't Dan 2 already finish testing and prepare for launch? Is there some kind of post-release testing? The narrative shifted in his mind to a grand courtroom setting, where Linwen answered confidently, It's not Dan 2. This is another game. Oh, and I forgot to mention I've quit my job at Tianhu Company. Chen Wu blinked in surprise. So you resigned right after the game's release? Well, I did hear that the development team was rewarded generously after launch. Are you saying you weren't satisfied with the money? Linwen raised her hand dismissively. What's the big deal about a bonus? It doesn't matter. The company I'm with now is far stronger than Tianhu. Let's not dwell on that. What matters is, can you help me test this game? Chen Wu crossed his arms. Sure, but does the pay match Tianh's? They offered $500 per test. Linwen giggled. No, it's not the same. But after testing, you'll receive the exclusive Xiao Jiying limited reward in-game. Chen Wu clenched his fists, clearly annoyed. So your new company is stingy too. You're asking for my help but offering no money. What is this trying to live in luxury without working for it? Linwen quickly raised her hands. No, that's not it. I promise this company isn't stingy. How about this besides the Xiao Jiying reward? I'll throw in a lifetime legendary weapon as well. Furious now, Chen Wu shouted, what nonsense is this? Who even wants those useless weapons? A lifetime legendary weapon is only worth, what, $100? Maybe $200 tops. Linwen scratched her chin. From what I know, lifetime legendary weapons in this game sell for $888. Chen Wu nearly spat out his drink. Wait, are you saying $888 in game currency or real money? Of course it's real money, Linwen replied calmly. Chen Wu stared at his screen in disbelief, horror spreading across his face. An $888 weapon? That's insane. You might as well rob a bank if you want money that badly. Still, curiosity got the better of him. He decided to download the game War of the Sea. From the title alone, he thought it would be dull. After making himself a bowl of noodles, he jumped right in. To his surprise, the visuals were solid, and the store system was strange. Only one weapon was available, and there were no purchase points. It almost seemed like the game gave away everything right from the start. But as he dug deeper, he noticed the weapon's attributes weren't particularly unique either. There are many new ways to play the combat system. What is this Oling Shang W mode? I've never seen it before. There's even a detailed storyline investment. I wasn't expecting much, but if there's a story mode, let's give it a try. As he clicked to play, the young man, still half-dazed, listened as two white-clad gunmen spoke nearby. Is this guy dead already? Not sure. Seems to still be breathing. But once infected with the virus, there's only death. Okay, just leave him there. After they left, Chen Wu woke up sweating profusely. Why is this game so mysterious? Where am I? I can hardly move. He turned around and saw a massive pile of corpses. Struggling to get up, he apologized to whoever was beneath him as he tried to step over them. After some effort, his character managed to crawl out of the heap of stinking corpses, feeling nauseous. As he wondered what to do next, a system panel suddenly appeared, displaying basic instructions. Move the mouse to observe surroundings. Use the W combination to move left, right, forward, and backward. This game even provides thorough guidance for beginners. Quite sophisticated indeed, he thought. Approaching a door, he hesitated. What if I open it and some final boss suddenly jumps out? The moment he opened it, a horrifying red-eyed zombie stood there menacingly. Swift as lightning, it lunged and bit his shoulder. The young man screamed in pain. Ouch! Damn it! He wrestled the zombie to the ground. You bastard, trying to sneak up on me, huh? Chen Wu immediately drew his pistol and aimed straight at the zombie's head. You disrespectful thing. I'll send you into oblivion right now. With a deafening bang, the zombie fell instantly. Holding his aching shoulder, Chen Wu muttered, This game deceives me. It's labeled as an FPS, but it feels like a horror game, terrifying. He soon collapsed to his knees, exhausted. Bitten by a zombie and infected, is this the end? Suddenly, a girl quietly approached him. Who's this girl? What does she want? She took out a large syringe and began drawing her own blood, her face full of pain and sorrow. Then she injected it into Chen Wu. Shocked, he exclaimed, "Oh my gosh, so that's it. Her blood can cure the toxin in my body." After a while, he regained consciousness and greeted her. "Hello, Enkacha, Yango." The girl looked puzzled and responded using gestures. Ah, she can't speak, he realized. This game has some interesting elements. Later, Chen Wu became completely immersed in the intense shooting gameplay. The guns fire smoothly, the controls are flexible, the firing and reloading are quick, he remarked. The shooting sensation feels different from Fan Kong J and Glock games, but it's very comfortable. The most outstanding aspect is the girl's design. Without her, it would just be endless fighting, but with her, the story gains emotion and depth. Together, Chen Wu and the MW girl fought side by side, wielding every kind of weapon from Gatling guns to machine guns and beyond. They faced every challenge head-on, ultimately defeating the final boss and completing the game flawlessly. Afterward, they boarded a helicopter back to the mainland, witnessing a dreamlike final scene. Chen Wu stood silently for a moment, speechless. Then he messaged his group. "War of the Sea is truly amazing, indescribable in words. You all must try it immediately." A friend replied, "I don't understand anything." Cut to Bai Qi's company. As he stepped out of the elevator, he thought, "Finally, everything's done. After a week of waiting, I haven't checked the figures yet, but I'm sure War of the Sea has been a success. Why is the reception desk empty again, though?" As Bai Qi walked further in, he noticed something strange. All the employees looked disappointed. Something's off, he thought. I can't accept this. Even BSU couldn't escape failure. It seems everyone is learning to face reality. They're not gamers by profession. Lately, we haven't had time to develop the game. They've been focusing on their personal lives. Still, they've poured their emotions into this project. At this moment, they need a leader like me to guide them through this difficulty. As he entered, two beautiful girls immediately recognized him. Lin Wen, her eyes sparkling like a myriad of stars, exclaimed, "Ah, CEO Bai is here." Surprisingly, all the employees burst into ecstatic cheers. "CEO Bai, CEO Bai. Congratulations, CEO Bai. Our CEO Bai is amazing. Unrivaled. Number 1. The young man stood frozen for a moment, confused, before asking, "Huh? What's going on?" Even more surprising, Hang Zba, with her blonde hair, approached and respectfully bowed, saying, "Yes, CEO Bai, I have learned a lot from you. Before, I didn't understand why you didn't advertise War of the Sea, but now I do. You wanted to teach me through reality that a good game only needs word of mouth to become famous." The young man listening thought to himself, "It's all messed up now, could it be true?" At the same time, Arban asked again, "What do you mean? Is the game suddenly hot?" Hazi immediately, with an excited expression, replied, "It's hot, it's hot. Just now I refreshed the data page. Whether it's about the heat, the number of online players, or the profit, it's all surpassing Dan 2 by far." Then the Secretary Tan brought in a giant bottle of champagne and said, "Hey, CEO Bai, let's pop the champagne to celebrate." A loud explosion echoed through the sky, drowning out the deafening cheers. On this side, our two bubbly receptionists danced happily holding two big firecrackers, shouting loudly, "Congratulations CEO Bai, our game has succeeded." At this moment, Ban stood still like a stone statue, while the surrounding crowd clapped gradually, like when a famous singer finishes a performance. Then young Ban hurriedly handed a bottle of champagne to Hang Zbe and said, "Everyone has done very well. Keep up the good work." On the other side, Hyun Zid was thinking to herself, "Indeed, everything is within CEO Bai's plan. CEO Bai had anticipated what would happen early on, so he's completely unfazed, feeling very normal. It's so dominant, so confident." He then slammed the door shut and disappeared into the room. Immediately, at the same time, he suddenly pondered this kind of meticulous calculation. How much accurate market forecasting is needed to pull this off? Even the script went wrong, doesn't it? But why? I've played meticulously for this. This fundamentally shouldn't be happening this time without Ruin Guangjian actively promoting, so where did the problem arise from? Then he picked up his computer to check. To his surprise, he discovered something. What are these comments? The whole bunch of people below commented, "I didn't expect a domestic game could create such an engaging storyline. Definitely deserves a 5-star rating. The combat frame of the FPS game scenario is executed the best." Another person commented, "I find this game more enjoyable than Fank Joa." Thinking about it, no one said this is a sports game. Moreover, this game only has a few tycoons buying Hokkien. Everything else in this game is entirely free, whereas Dan 2 is, like another comment said, "Now we're discussing War of the Sea and Fan Kong Janua." Anyone bringing up Danant 2 is obviously someone hired by the T-Who company. A cheeky commenter retorted, "Your War of the Sea is just riding on the glory of Dan 2, aren't you ashamed?" By can finish reading, clutching his head in immense pain. What's going on here? These people keep arguing back and forth. No one can help me analyze the true reason behind this game's popularity. There's a way I'm the boss after all. If I can't analyze it, I'll just ask Klong Zi to do it. Outside, a bespectacled young man was conversing with Hang Zba with golden hair. "Hey, Hang Zba, the game's theme is getting hotter and hotter." Kwang Zba immediately replied, "That's right, all the credit goes to CEO Bai." Suddenly, a notification from Ding Ding rang out. Our B-Pan sends a message saying, "You are to produce an analytical report on the factors contributing to the success of War of the Sea, covering everything from design to promotion strategies. Each aspect must be thoroughly analyzed and sent directly to me." Hang Zba, after reading, thought to herself, "Why does CEO B want this analytical report? The game's core direction is created by CEO Bai. The word-of-mouth advertising strategy is also decided by CEO Bai. Clearly, CEO Bai wants to help us consolidate our knowledge, make us absorb experiences, and constantly improve." A while later, our Bayan printed out the report written by Hang Zba and summoned a mental conference. Immediately, Bayan, adjusting his glasses, quickly skimmed through. Difficulty level lowered, attracting a large number of casual players. Excellent narrative form coupled with beloved storylines being in domestic game adds to its good reputation. On this side, Bayan, holding his coffee cup, continued reading. Diverse combat mechanics, unlimited gameplay relieving players from technical pressures. Pricing strategy of Hokkien at $888 caters to the ostentatious pleasure of tycoons, with its attributes falling within the controllable range for regular players. It provides effective experiential supplements, which were greatly welcomed by everyone. Upon hearing this, Bayan slammed his hammer down on the table forcefully and exclaimed bitterly, "But what baffles me even more is the quarrel between the players of War of the Sea and Dantu. How come War of the Sea is gaining so much more popularity? This script is terribly wrong. So, in the end, who caused this disaster?" Adjusting his glasses, Bai K replied calmly, "Surely H1 ZBA and B Su will follow our game production instructions." Taking a sip of coffee, Bai K continued, "After hearing this, I almost smashed the cup straight onto Lin Wen's head. Lin Wen was just following Hong Zeba's orders, finding a group of gamers to act as scapegoats. It's infuriating." Holding a gaming console, Bayan remarked, "It seems like we've decided to confront Dantu ourselves then." They all looked at each other in utter bewilderment. "Ah, so could it be that it's all our fault?" Bayan's expression darkened as he slammed his hand down on the table. "Damn it, I have to save myself this time. I'm definitely going to incur losses, and no one can stop me."